Am I the a-hole stories? Am I the a-hole for buying my nephew a PS5 and an iPhone 12 for Christmas, while his stepsister got nothing? Background: sister decided to walk out on her family and come out as lesbian, moved in with her new girlfriend and her kid, about 2 days after dropping the bomb on brother-in-law and their then 10-year-old son. She further proceeded to do some unspeakable things during the divorce process, that was just petty and absolutely cruel. All of this combined, has gotten her completely cut out of my side of the family, and brother-in-law and nephew have become an irreplaceable part of our circle. My sister lost her house, job, and vehicle because all of was part of the family estate. I don't know how she ever expected any of us to side with her, and this has led to my nephew getting an absolute windfall in life from us as a consequence. During my most recent visit to the States, he had mentioned how he liked both the PS5 and the new iPhone, but couldn't decide which to ask for as he knew that it would come off as greedy. I decided to buy him both. Now he's posted this all over his social media. My sister says that this has ended any chance of her having a relationship with her son, as she was planning on buying him a used one to open up communications again, and that I'm increasing the gap between him and his stepsister. She's demanding I help her with medical costs for her stepkid. She has some medical condition that costs a lot to take care of, and I don't really care enough to find out more. She then proceeded to start a sob story on how the medical treatments have wiped out their savings and all disposable income, essentially living paycheck to paycheck. She also claims that it's affecting her stepdaughter's mental health, seeing her brother living a fairy tale and ignoring her existence. I told her that she shat her bed, and can now sleep in it and to never contact me again. A few mutual acquaintances are telling me to cut her some slack and forgive her, because she did something very brave by coming out in a place where the cultural trend is homophobia. I personally feel, nothing excuses her actions during the divorce process. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to share specifics in the post, but feel free to DM if you guys feel that it would be relevant. Thing is, none of us, nephew included, have changed our minds about wanting anything to do with that lot. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Her coming out wasn't the issue, it's what she did after. And the worst part is she abandoned her son. Normally, in posts like this, the family is mostly split. But if the consensus is unanimous, then she definitely is the jerk. I don't understand how your presence affect her chances of patching things up with her son. Ridiculous. Also, you're a great person to support your nephew and brother-in-law throughout this ordeal. Abandonment is hard, especially for a child, but having unwavering support goes a long way. Not the a-hole. Being LGBT doesn't make you immune from being an a-hole. How you treat people makes you an a-hole. If she was straight and moved in with a new boyfriend 2 days after asking for a divorce, she would be an a-hole. Not the a-hole. How is she struggling to pay medical bills but think buying gifts will also mend a bond between a mother and child? Your sister needs to own up to her mistakes, and make the relevant steps to mend whatever bit of relationship she has left with her son. Buying gifts is definitely not the way to start mending a bond. The gift was a fake story to open a conversation, and try to guilt OP into giving her money. She easily walked out on them a while ago. I doubt she has any real remorse or plans to open a line of communication to her former son. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Whether she's gay or straight, your sister walked out on her husband and abandoned her kid, and shacked up with someone else 2 days later. Kind of sounds like an affair had been going on. It's unfortunate that her stepdaughter is having medical issues, but that's not any of your concern. I'm sure her walking out on your nephew affected his mental health, but your sister doesn't seem too concerned about that. It's affected him very badly. He's essentially lost the ability to trust women in general. We are working with a professional to deal with this, but can't say I don't understand his logic, given what he's experienced and witnessed. Next story. Am I the a-hole for stopping buying groceries for my family after they started charging me rent? After college, I moved back in with my parents to focus on paying off my student loans. I've been fortunate that my parents have let me live the last 3 years completely rent-free. I am super appreciative of them letting me live rent-free. I've tried to help out around the house as much as possible. I do the majority of the yard work, and help with maintenance around the house. One of the main ways I've contributed over the last 3 years, is buying the groceries for the rest of the house, both my parents and my older brother. All in all, it's about $600 to $700 a month. This was something that I just started occasionally doing, and soon, became just something that I did for the family. I was never asked to do it. Last month, my parents asked me to start paying rent. I don't have an issue with this, but they asked me to pay $750 a month. I thought that they wanted a more similar situation that they had with my older brother, who pays rent, same amount, but doesn't contribute around the house, so I agreed and wrote them a check for that month on the spot. It's important to note that I had already gone to the grocery that month, so we had a fully stocked pantry. Come to the start of this month, I paid my rent on the first of the month and thought everything was settled. A few days into the month, after I get home from work, My dad casually mentions that we don't have any food in the house, and when am I going to go to the store? I was caught off guard, and said that I'd be happy to do the shopping on my day off, but would need some money to pay for everything. He seemed confused by this, and brought up that I had never asked for money before. I reminded him that I had started paying rent and couldn't afford rent and feed the whole family. This led to a huge argument, and now everyone is pissed at everyone else. I really don't think I'm in the wrong here. I might not have been paying rent, but I have more than made up for it in other ways, including buying the groceries for my whole family. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Pretty much like everyone else said, if you were spending $600 to $700 on groceries every month, you were paying rent. If they want additional rent money, you should just move out. $1,300 per month, $750 plus grocery money, should be more than enough to get your own place. Not the a-hole. Once you start paying rent, you're now basically a tenant. You're required to clean your messes from the common area, do your own thing, but you really don't have to help with anything else you don't want to. This is silly. Not the a-hole. Classic entitlement. They didn't realize you were contributing. You were already paying a rent in a way, without it being directly financial. At best I can assume obliviousness. But I think they were trying to double dip you. Stand firm, good buddy, you did the right thing. Not only that, but they were getting out of actually going to the store themselves, so it was a time saver as well. Not the a-hole OP, may want to sit down with their parents and put together a formal agreement. Not the a-hole, you no longer have to contribute to the groceries now that you are tenant. Why can't your brother be the one to furnish the fridge? They are trying to take advantage of you. Personally, I would just move out, but I understand it depends in the area. Almost impossible to find rent at that price in Cali. I would happily move out, but rent where I live is absolutely insane, and $750 is on the lower end of the average of what I could expect to rent a room somewhere else. The next story is titled, "Am I the a-hole for helping my daughter's boyfriend against his parents' wishes?" Long story short, am I the a-hole for giving my daughter's boyfriend his portion of the money he needed for them to move into an apartment together, against his parents' wishes? His parents are majorly pissed because I gave him the money, because they didn't want him to move in with my daughter. He is 22 years old, works a full-time job, and has been dating my daughter for 3 years. His parents require him to give them his entire salary every pay period. It's direct deposited into their bank account. They give him an allowance of $100 per week. They told him he could not move out because they need his help financially, but his father makes really good money as an architect, and his mother makes a moderate income as a high school teacher. I personally don't think they should be depending on their son's income or forcing him/guilting him into giving them his money. I gave him the money, he opened his own bank account and had his job change his direct deposit. They are moving in the apartment this coming weekend. His mother posted a scathing post on Facebook basically threatening me with bodily harm for messing with her family, and getting involved with things that are none of my business. She then proceeded to call me and scream at me with pretty much the same message. I hung up on her. So, am I the a-hole for getting involved in their family matters? Should I have stayed out of it? Top comments. Not the a-hole, his parents sound horrible, and he needs to separate his bank account and close off their access to it ASAP. That's so inappropriate. He did that last week, which is what alerted his parents of what was going on. He opened a new bank account, and had his job change his direct deposit destination to his new account. It's at a different bank too. Somebody is mother-in-law of the year. Not the a-hole. Your behavior is a testament to the resiliency factor. Even though he's 22, he's still a kid in many ways. Your kind gesture will nurture him for years to come, and help him develop resiliency to the harm his parents have likely done. Young people remember the adults who are kind to them. Goes a long way. I wish I could give you platinum, but I'm broke. A heart for you then. Not as big as yours, of course. Not the a-hole. They're only pissed that because of you they're going to struggle to continue to financially mistreat him. Honestly, good on you. The mom is a high school teacher. He should report such a person to the school board. A person like this should not be around children. Not the a-hole. Your daughter is dating the young man, it is your business. His parents sound unbelievably controlling. I have to wonder where their money is going. Drugs? Gambling? Something else? Anyway, definitely not the a-hole. If she keeps threatening you, I'd call the police and file a restraining order. My ex's sister's boyfriend was in a very similar situation. A grown man, but his dad was forcing him to live at home and taking his entire paycheck. The dad was a con artist with a criminal record. He'd done so much shady things, he'd ruined his own credit. So as soon as his son turned 18, he got a bunch of credit cards and finance stuff in his son's name and ruined that too. My ex's parents helped him take his dad to court, and get all of the debt put into his dad's name, and helped him move out of home and open his own bank account. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife, 40 female, to grow up and staying Christmas with our daughters at my abusive parents without her? Wife, 40 female, and I, 42 male, together for 23 years, married for 17. We have 4 daughters together, 16 female, 15 female, 13 female and 11 female. Our relationship is good, we don't fight and we don't have any major issues. When we had our oldest, we decided that she would stay at home with her and our future kids. It worked well, until last year. As our daughters got older, they didn't need that much attention from her. It caused some problems. She was used to being a full-time mom, but our daughters are quite independent for their ages, so she got a lot of free time in her hands and didn't know what to do. We discussed things and I told her that this would be a good time for her to finish her master's degree, but she wasn't very keen on that, so she joined the gym and a few book clubs. Then our oldest introduced her to TikTok, and she got addicted to that. She started posting stuff about our private life, but hey, she wasn't bored and she was happy, so I went along. I even participated in a few. Then she started doing pranks on me. It was particularly funny because I get scared very easily. The pranks started to get more elaborate. I told her to stop and we had a lot of heated arguments about this. In March, I was taking a bath. She got into the bathroom and dumped a bucket of ice on me while recording the whole thing. I freaked out, got up very fast, slipped, and hit my head pretty hard on the tub. I am a big guy, 6'4" plus 248 pounds, so it was pretty bad. I woke up in a hospital 2 days later. Apparently, I got a hematoma from the accident and had to get brain surgery. I had to stay in the hospital for almost 2 weeks. I'm still doing physiotherapy sessions, and don't have total control of my left arm. After the accident, the previously good relationship that my wife had with my family, my mom has 3 sons. I am the oldest and we started dating very early, so my wife was the daughter that my mom never had, took a pretty big hit. They got into a few fights with her, and I had to step in and ask everyone to calm down a bit. Onto the issue, my wife and I alternate holidays between her family and mine. 1 year, we go to Christmas with her family, the next one we stay with my parents. This year we are supposed to stay with my parents, but she doesn't want that. My family still makes some snarky comments and my brothers are pretty passive-aggressive with her. She doesn't want to go to my parents this year because of that. I told her that I am going with or without her. She told me that I can't take our daughters without her. We got into a fight and I told her that I am going. She told me that she won't drive me there. I can't drive since the accident. I called my brother and he is okay with driving us there. Our daughters are very excited to see my parents. We got into a fight and she is currently not speaking with me. Her sisters think I am a jerk, and that I am being too harsh on her because the lockdown was hard on her. I told a coworker about this, and he is on the fence. So Reddit, am I the a-hole here? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole, she has permanently disabled you for views on freaking TikTok. She needs to put on her big girl panties and deal with your family being pissed off. This is why his family has issues with her. This is why his daughters want to go to dad's house. Heck, she should be kissing butt big time, but she isn't. Yikes. Not the a-hole. But, your injury was back in March and it looks like the resentment is growing worse, not better over time. You won't solve this by going to Christmas without her. You also won't solve it by giving in to her demands. Y'all might need some couples counseling here. I'm leaning towards divorce based on emotional manipulation and physical abuse. F the counseling. This idiot is 40 and is willing to injure someone for internet points, and is now crying that people are pissed off at her and the implied poor decision-making skills. Me personally? Once I recovered, I would have filed for divorce based on the fact she's mistreating. Wait. Lockdown is hard on her? Almost dying is hard on you. I do question the family get-together in the middle of a raging pandemic though. Not the a-hole about the post. The pandemic isn't hitting that hard around here. We are taking safety measures and I get tested weekly for COVID. We don't live in the US. And that's it for this video guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. I'll catch you in the next one. Good day everyone.